Hello fellow exiles, and welcome to another video which is a little different from the other ones because this is not a build guide, but instead it is a guide on where to farm. I've seen a lot of people posting things like, I just got to Act 3 and it seems like my damage is really low here. It's getting kind of hard for me to play. So what I want to show people is what you can do if you're feeling kind of weak. Maybe you need to get those extra skill points or those extra levels, and I don't think a lot of people are aware of the places where it's really good to farm. So I want to show everyone all the good farming spots I use and how I survive in hardcore. So I'm gonna start with Act 1, and in Act 1 there's really only one spot where I'd farm, which is ledge. This is a really good farming spot for most builds. No one really struggles farming Shrine to be farming ledge, to be honest, so I'll just put on my aura. So what I like to do on ledge is I just run from end to end, and as you can see the mobs are undead, they don't really have any resistances, and it's a pretty safe place to farm. Oh, superior flask. And it's very hard to die here. So as long as you have lightning resist, you can even do the boss, which is at the end, or boss. It's kind of a boss monster, which is called the False God. He does lightning damage, so if you have low lightning resist, what we usually do is we just run past, like some people do in the races, as you might have seen. Just skip the boss and just run past him and keep clearing the mobs, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So if I have low lightning resist, I just run this way. Try to just kite him away, the mobs as best I could, and avoid the boss, because I don't want to engage him. Sometimes if you have low damage, maybe it's better to skip him because the XP gain wouldn't be very good. So some of the mobs are resistant to fire, but I think this is a good farming spot for any build, and personally I don't like to farm any other place in Act 1 than this. Of course I'm rushing it a bit here. I'm not like clearing every monster, but there's some pretty big packs here. There's usually at least like 5 or 6 mobs. If there's like only 2 of them, maybe I'd skip the pack altogether and just keep running past, because it wouldn't be worth my time. But this is my favorite spot in Act 1 and the only one I'd use. So let's move on to the next act. So for Act 2, the first one I'm gonna show is Fell Shrine. Act 2 has more farming spots than Act 1, and it depends a lot about what kind of build you're using. So Act 2, usually just teleport to Church Dungeon and I'll just enter Fell Shrine. So this is pretty much the same as ledge. You just go from end to end, and you enter all the new instances, and you create new, just run to the next end and create new. So for Fell Shrine, oh god, I have a wrong keybind. I'll pretty much just run from or on the road. Did you walk on the trap? I just walk on the road to one end to the other, just running along, just clearing the packs. That's pretty much it. There are some builds that have a hard time doing Fell Shrine. For example, if I can find one of these mobs, we have skeletons again, which is resist fire. But it all basically comes down to what resistances the monsters have. There are the big lightning resistant rocks, so maybe for a lightning build this would not be the best place to farm. So you might want to consider taking one of the other ones. I'd definitely not recommend this farming place for any cold witch or any other cold build, because there are a lot of cold resistant zombies. So cold builds should use the next farming place I'm going to show. So this is just how I do it. I run through, you see here, the lightning resist hulking titans. But it's not too bad. I usually don't waste my time on doing the hulking titans because they take like 3 times as long to kill, as any of the other mobs, and it's not really worth my time, to be honest. Like, it's faster if I just skip them. Even if they're yellow, I usually just skip them because that just makes everything even worse. It just takes a lot longer. So yeah, I'm almost done with this run. I'll just go out and reset. So I'll show the next farming spot. I might need to pick up some portals from my stash, so don't run out. Okay, so the next farming spot is Western Forest. This is where Alira is, and it's the same thing here. I'd run from end to end. If you click on at the end of it, you know, you can run past into Act 1, reset, and do it again. Yeah, as you can see here, you can just run right to the end there and just reset. And I'll just repeat that. So what do we have to watch out for here? Well, we have mobs with Poison Arrow, which is one of the things we need to watch out for. Especially on Merciless difficulty, the mobs do a lot more damage. I think it's it's safe to say that the farming spots have gotten a lot harder in alpha than they were before. So you might have to pay some attention to what you're doing. So we have the Poison Arrow Arches, and we also have these Martyrs, which explode and do fire damage. So you can do this without fire resist if you're confident you won't get hit by one of those guys, which you usually won't. And these guys are not resistant to the usual elements, just chaos, so it's a pretty good farming spot. And as Fell Shrine, I'll just run from end to end, just clearing the mobs as best as I can. It's pretty nice to do a kind of style of this, where you just run and shoot with Poison Arrow. It's probably my preferred style of doing this one. It requires a little bit of confidence to do it, because it's easy to start panicking once the mobs start gathering up. But this is the style I like to use. Otherwise you can do it however you want, or what you find most effective. But I just like to shoot Poison Arrow, just run, shoot Poison Arrow, run. Yeah. As long as you just don't run too fast, so the mobs just don't really care about you anymore, you should be fine. Just watch out for the explosions. So let's do the next zone. This is one in Act 2 which I usually don't like to farm, but I know some people do, and it's not very bad, and it's Waterfall Cave. More specifically, it's level 2. So you do the same here, run from end to end, and you'd go to the portal, teleport to town, and then make a new instance. So this is also a pretty good farming spot. Personally, I dislike it. I do not like to farm here. I think farming is a lot about, you know, which place you actually like to be in, because this is not one of my preferred ones, and it just, you know, it feels kind of hard for me to sit in Waterfall Cave for 2 hours and farm, and it's much easier for me to do it in the other zones, which I like more. Ledge is probably my favorite one. I like to farm ledge. I always do a couple of ledge runs. It's just pretty nice. So there are no really strong mobs here. There's like resist chaos, and then you have the bears with vulnerability. It's not super dangerous now because the bears are pretty bad. There are some with the generation aura. But otherwise this is a pretty good farm spot as well. Good XP. But I think in the end, when it comes to Act 2, it's all about what build you're using, which will exclude Fell Shrine from you, depending on what you're doing. So Fell Shrine is kind of one of those places where you need to look at your build if you could actually do it successfully. And then after that, it's up to preference. You know, if you can't do Fell Shrine, well then maybe you need to do the Western Forest. But then maybe at higher levels you'd like to do Waterfall. There's also a level difference between the zones. Western Forest is, you know, 44, while Fell Shrine is 42 in Cruel, and then Waterfall is 46. So it depends what you want to do. For Act 3 farming, I like to do City of Sarn. This is a really good one. Once you get to Act 3, the first zone right when you get out from Val is really good. The mob's kinda squishy, like everyone can probably farm this. It's quite easy. There are some dangers, which is the boss here, which is a bear trap boss, but if you do the run like I do, which is you just run along the side of the road, or side of the wall, you basically hug the wall, you would not run into the bear trap boss. So as long as you run along here, you will not run into him, because he is more up in the between well, he's above me in the houses over there, up. So as long as you just run next to the wall, you shouldn't have any problems. It might be kind of hard AoEing these monsters sometimes, because they do whirling blades, so they don't really want to line up for you sometimes. Otherwise it's pretty cool. I like the place. There aren't really many mobs that could kill you, except that bear trap guy. The rest of them are pretty squishy and kind of nice to farm. So this is one of my preferred places in Act 3 for sure. So what you just do is keep running. I'm just gonna not kill these mobs and show you what I'd do. Then I usually don't run down here. I usually run just up and around, and then I go down through the other stairs, which are at the end of the zone. You can go down here as well. It kind of depends on what you like. So I usually don't run like this, but I want to make it shorter. So usually I'd run up there because there are even more mobs, and then I'd go here, and then you just reset. You just reset the zone, and then you run to the TP and you do the same thing. So I'm gonna be a bit lazy now. I'm gonna show you the last farming place of Act 3, which is Docks. I don't have it on Cruel yet with this character. It's a new one I'm trying for another build guide. I can't say what I'm doing. It's kind of a secret. So Docks in Act 3 is another good farm zone, which I like. Mostly just undead archers, and then we have these dockhand wraiths. I think it's the wraiths. Oh yeah, yeah, they are. It's a pretty cool zone to farm. Kind of resembles Fell Shrine, except that you have these mobs, the void bears, and they're pretty dangerous with the right mods. I would not recommend farming this zone without high resists against the void bears, because you can get one of these. You see, they do. Okay, this is just normal, but they don't do that much damage with against max resist. But there are void bears which can have haste and multiple projectiles, and they can hurt really bad. But otherwise, this is a pretty nice zone to farm. You know, you just clear to the end. You have all these, like 3 or 4 of these dents in the map which go out, and then I just clear those and just run back. So there is a bit of downtime where you need to run in zones where you've already cleared, like when I go back. But otherwise I just do like a entire round, almost right back to the teleport, and I just portal out. You could just run back to the teleport, but I usually don't. So I just portal scroll out, and I just making you zone. So yeah, I hope this guide was helpful for you guys, so you know which places are good to farm and for which builds. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.